All right, here we are. We're live. Just so much fun. Let's see. All right, so it says it's going. Let me make sure that I have it going how I want to do it on my end.
Okay. Looks good on my end. Zoom was telling me that it was going. So.
All right, cool. Hi, everybody. This is Stacey Jordan from Envirolume, and welcome to our next level commercial Christmas discussion. Today, we're going to talk with Lewis Vandervalk from Crocus Solutions. I think I said it right. Is it Crocus?
It is. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
We're going to have you explain that later about what that even means, but I kind of looked it up online to see what that meant. But for now, what we promised everyone would happen today are the two things that you must have if you are going to that next level in commercial Christmas, or even just starting a commercial Christmas business. So if you guys aren't sure who I am Stacey Jordan with Envirolume. I'm the VP of sales there, and I've been in the Christmas industry now. This is my 19th season. So that's fun. So my friends say I work for Santa, which is cool because I tell my kids that too. So they've always thought that Santa is my employer, which is fun for them. And I always say, like, Santa can't be everywhere at once. So he has to have all kinds of people working with him around the world. So that's why I'm able to work for Santa. So that works out for me. But my 19th year, and this business for me has evolved from sales to bringing in importing products through Envirolume, through installing products through other companies like Decor IQ, having partnerships with other companies in the industry to provide all the services that you would need if you are coming into the industry. There's training programs through CLIPA, through other organizations who can help anybody who's interested in learning how to start a Christmas company, but also how to level up, right? So we're going to talk about the next level, and that's why we brought Lewis on for that. So I'm going to go ahead and give it over to Lewis to talk a little bit more about that. Tell us about you, your company, and then tell us what must we have to level up.
I love it. No, I appreciate the chance to come on here, and I've been excited. You and I have talked back and forth about some of the opportunities out here. So basically, yeah, my name is Lewis Vandervalk. You nailed the name. It's a complicated one. Both Blue Crocus and Vandervalk people can stumble over. So I'm located in Eastern Canada, so New Brunswick, Canada, just above Maine, and I work with contractors all over North America. So we are a web design, SEO, and Google Ads marketing agency, basically serving anybody that has a service business. And Christmas light contractors is one that we have started the last couple of years to move into, seeing some good results in it. And I think you and I connected through one of the Facebook groups. I jumped in, you reached out, I was like, hey, what's going on? And you said, let's chat about, where this can go. So we got talking, and I think one of the things I see in this industry is people, you get a lot of work through word of mouth, relationships, all of that, but there's an untapped market online. And it's, the digital revolution is upon us, and it can seem complicated and scary, but yellow pages don't work the same way they used to. People aren't thumbing through yellow pages, right?
Some people may not even know what yellow pages are.
Yeah.
That are listening to this right now. They may not have any idea what that is. You and I know, but yellow pages used to be the way people looked up a directory of people. It was a book that was printed out, an actual big book that had all the companies' names and information that you would get delivered to your house or your business in your local area.
Yeah, no, I have a couple actually back there. I still get them. I use
historical reference materials now for you.
Yeah, it's a prospecting tool too. If someone's still listed in there and spending money, I reach out and say, hey, we can help you out a little bit better. But yeah, so that's what we do. And you mentioned the crocus. You can see it behind me here. That's a sign that my brother-in-law built for me. But basically the crocus came about, I love crocus flowers. I love blue as a strong branding thing. So I kind of put it together. And the story that was kind of built around it was, a lot of contractors go through really tough times in their business. It's either the winter season. Winter coming on is a good thing for Christmas light businesses, but a lot of people go through the winter and it's a slow season typically. And then, they're like stressed out about what's going to happen in the summer. So the crocus flower is kind of that first flower that comes out, pokes through the snow. Sometimes they'll even bloom when the snow is still on the ground. So, it's kind of a example of, pushing through the adversity. And then on our end, we help you, kind of push through the snow, push through the winter, push through the slow season and come out the other side, raring to go. So that's kind of the story there. But what we're going to talk about today is websites and, online presence and what you can do, because I see a lot of people in the industry who really don't have a good handle on it, and don't take advantage of it. And it's just money lying on the ground, commercial accounts, even residential accounts, for Christmas light contracts. You don't want to be letting those go. You want to be snagging every single one of those. There's some good money in it, and some good margins in it. And so, every single lead that you don't capture is, that's a fair difference in your bottom line. So if you want to let me, I do have a little presentation just to kind of keep myself on track.
Okay. Do me a favor though. Did you have your own business before you did this? Something that was like a contractor type business you want to talk about real quick to tell us your history a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. No, history wise, I grew up on a farm. Grew up in my family was involved in a 13-acre greenhouse, 20 acres of outdoor growing space. So I grew up in that environment, working on the farm. There was like an animal aspect to it, so like cows and pigs and all of that. So grew up around building stuff. Like in summers when I was out of school, I was always building stuff.
Did you have to milk cows?
I never actually, that never was a task that I had to do. I think I might have tried it once, like manually, but it was never like a thing that I did. I was always the sheep and chickens and pigs guy.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So grew up there and then, graduated high school and was like, man, like, I think there's more that I can do, and more that I wanted to do. So I worked, I ended up working 4 years after high school, just doing construction, a lot of concrete and framing, for those 4 years. And I said, I'd like to have a family. I think I need to have, something more than just trades under my belt. And, I enjoy using my mind too. So I loved the physical aspect of it. I love telling my friends that, you're paying for a gym membership and I'm getting paid to work out. And that was always something that I brought up. But so I went to school, got a degree in mechanical engineering, actually. My cousin was like, you should get a degree in mechanical engineering. You like fixing stuff. You like, you've been working around machines all your life. So I got a degree in mechanical engineering, worked all through that. My wife and I got married while I was in school. So I basically worked part-time in the school year, full-time in the summer, doing mechanical design for a business that basically built apparatus for people who didn't have legs or were paralyzed, to drive vehicles. So it was a lot of like aftermarket stuff, really custom stuff. So it's quite different than what I'm doing now. But I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, kept working full-time with this business. Our son was born and I said, this is, I enjoy what I'm doing. It's satisfying, but I also, my wife and I are on track to have 4 kids. Our third is on the way. And this
is 4 the goal. Is 4 your goal? Did you just decide you need 4? Like
that's always been
even numbers, no odd numbers.
Yeah. It's always been the goal. We said, let's do it. We've had them basically like every 18 months. We're
oh my gosh, your wife, she deserves a medal, like a gold star, like a trophy, something like that.
She definitely does. But the thinking is, if we can, get the kids all growing up, we'll all grow up together. It won't be like diapers in 15 years still. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I did that opposite. I had my 2 girls like back to back, 18 months apart. And then I had my son 11 years later. So you can
really speak to it, and I it's crazy.
I don't suggest it. I don't suggest that.
Yeah. Well,
not recommended.
That's the plan. We'll see if the plan stays the way it is. But that's the plan. So 3 kids. We had one. Like our first was born 3 months after I graduated, and so I was working full time, going to work before he was awake, and really come back and only see him for an hour. Then he'd be back down. And I was like, man, this isn't really like sustainable, especially if we get 4 of these things running around.
Making your own people is a big deal.
It is a big deal. And there's appointments during the day and it just becomes stressful trying to arrange all of that. So I said, I met a lot of people in university who were doing very successful in business even as they were going through. And I said, there might be something to this. So I started looking and settled on this opportunity, marketing for contractors. I was very familiar with the space, having, done that for 4 years and all, growing up. And I said, let's do it. So I invested a lot of money into training and then continue to do so. And so, we're going on 3 years now of having this. I've been full-time in it for 2 and a bit years. And loving every minute of it. So, it's what I love to do. I love seeing the results. I love helping people. But yeah, that's a bit of a snapshot of the background there.
That's great. Yeah, I agree. I feel like if you're able to help people in any industry and give away knowledge and provide services for people to grow their businesses, and you see that expand around the country and everywhere, and all across North America or even around the world, that's just amazing to have that happen.
Yeah,
towards something, a better purpose than just fill in your pocket, which is great to fill your pocket, but at the same time, when you're helping people, that's what really makes you feel good. And you said your third is on the way, but you have a boy or a girl?
We've got a boy on the way. Am I kind of chopping out a little bit? I can't tell if it's on my end or not. Oh,
I lost you for a second. Yeah, we're back now.
Okay, you're cutting out. I think it's on my end. But you asked if we're having a boy, so a boy is on the way. Yeah.
So is your process now? You have girl, boy, girl, or girl, boy?
It's well, when you say process, I don't know how much say we had in it, but it is so far. It's boy, girl, boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the chances of having another girl, are pretty slim statistically, but we'll see, and that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the next one. We'll see. All right.
Yeah, I don't think we're going for 5.
All right, so let's go into your presentation. Let's see what you have to talk about. I know we have a couple people watching. Be sure if you're watching, if you have any questions to ask. I know that my reception is kind of choppy right now. I'm sorry, but we'll come back on as soon as it happens. And the internet told me I'm unstable. So, I mean, that could be part of it, but that's what my computer just told me, you're unstable. So if you're watching and you have questions, please put them in the chat. I can see the chat as it's happening. So I'll interrupt Lewis and we'll go into answer your questions. If you have any questions about whatever he's talking about, feel free to jump in and ask them. This is for you guys, a Q&A. You can ask any question you want. Happy to help. So go ahead, Lewis, take it away.
Beautiful. Okay, so I'll share my screen here. I just got a 3-monitor setup, so it's been fun choosing the right screen here to share. Let me know if you can see my presentation here.
I see it.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to dive right in, guys, and we're going to talk about, we've kind of alluded to this. If you're just jumping on, we're going to talk today about websites and Google business listings. So 2 things you must have. Obviously, I spoke a bit about, Blue Crocus Solutions is my business, my company, and so we're going to dive right in here. What can you expect? So we're going to go through why it matters to have a presence on Google, and then we're going to go through pretty in depth the website and Google business listings. Stacey, just let me know. I know you just muted there. I think you're working on some connectivity stuff. But let me know what timeline we have here for this, because I can stretch this out or I can keep it pretty high level too.
We're supposed to go. We can go like to the end of the hour. That's the timeline I have. So as long as you want. Yeah. Okay,
perfect. So guys, the more questions you ask, the more detailed I can go on this. But I do have, I can talk about this stuff all day. So we'll get right into it. And I think the first thing we're going to look at is websites. So websites matter. And we're going to go through why they matter. Because a lot of contractors, Christmas light or just general service-based contractors, they say, I don't need it. I've got lots of business. I've got word of mouth. There's no need to invest in a website. What's it going to do for me? And the truth of the matter is, especially in the last 2.5 years, with people being stuck at home, there's not as much water cooler talk. There's not as much, people out on the road seeing your trucks. And just in general, people have gone online more. It's something that I've seen pretty well across every client we've had. Their business through their digital assets went way up, like the leads that they would get through there. So having a website is really important now. 2 years ago, it was important, but now even more than ever, having a website. People go online, they just Google it, Christmas light contractor or Christmas light installation, in my area. And if you don't pop up, they're probably just going to call the person that does, right? They're not going to see you around. They're not going to see that you exist. And so they're not going to reach out to you, right? So, I say here, people use Google, you need to be there. I've had some people ask, what about the other search engines? Your website will show up in the other search engines, but Google has like 80 to 95% of the search volume for a given area. So we focus mostly on Google. Websites are an additional source of leads. So even if you are getting that word of mouth flow of leads coming through, what if you could have more? What if you could choose the jobs that you actually prefer? So you may have some leads coming through and keep busy, but what if you had more to choose from? You could then choose the ones that actually make you more money. Because some jobs, you don't like. Some jobs are tricky. Some jobs are, you're not making as much margin on. So what if you could just bid exactly where you want on all the jobs, and it's okay if you lost 70% of the jobs and only close 20 to 30%, right? So having an additional source of leads gives you that flexibility. And another thing with a website is it's a 24/7 365 salesperson. You're not even if you do have an office or a truck or whatever, people aren't going to call you at 2 a.m. when they're getting frantic because the husband of the house or the wife, they're getting frantic. It's like 2 weeks out from Christmas, and they have nothing up for lights and they don't want to do it, right? So if they can go on to online, they can find someone, boom, you've got a lead. They can enter, for a quote in the middle of the night. It's surprising how many leads you get coming through in the middle of the night. People are up late, searching for that.
Yeah, and I could totally relate to that too. It's definitely when I'm looking for anything, I first go on the internet. I mean, every time I that's what I do. Anything at all. I need a red handbag. Boom. I search on the internet and I find what I need.
Exactly.
So it's the same with Christmas lights or Christmas lighting. It's the same exact thing. And what I love the point you made about having a 24/7, 365 salesperson. Anyone who is in sales or has salespeople that you're paying and you're training them, there's so much involved to get them to understand your business, to understand the way that you run your business, the business culture, all those things. If you can put that online and you have that already laid out really clearly, then you've already taken half of that whole intro away from having that salesperson having to explain it all. And also you're giving your salespeople, anyone new that you bring on, a tool to learn from about the company and about the culture and about the products. So I think it's so smart. It's super smart to have a website, and it seems so simple, right? Of course we have a website, but there's more. But there's more to the website that you need.
Yeah, no,
right?
No, there isn't. And kind of as you're talking there, taking the salesperson example a little bit further, like you may have someone that's out knocking doors and connecting with realtors and stuff. That's good. But what if you could have an additional one, that would cover, the same amount that like 3 salespeople could do. And it's happening,
Right.
Whatever time, because your salespeople only work at a certain time of day, right? They're not knocking doors at three.
Oh, mine work 24/7. You saw me working. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't get a break. Just ask them. No.
Exactly. But not everyone.
I wish.
Yeah. Right. So there's something to be said about having that, because you don't have to pay healthcare, you don't have to pay any of that stuff for a website, right? So let's dive into looking at one. I'll show you one here. I have some stats here. This is one that was just this past season. So end of October to mid-December. This is a website stats from a website. So 57 form submissions and 22 click to calls through the website. So this is, I like this one. I'll bring it up here. I've got a different browser that's just pulled it up. So it's this website here. And this is one in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And what's neat about this site is we did nothing but build the site. So when we build sites, we get them SEO optimized. Like we build the foundation out, but we also offer a service where we do SEO to really build up the authority. This site, we just built it. He just wanted a site. He said, let's just go with that. Maybe as I get bigger, we'll go with the SEO. Well, this site just blew up. 70 some leads in like a 2-month period with not having really anything done on the site. We've got the basic stuff here, and we'll go through that in a bit. But essentially, this site shows up when people are looking. This site shows up. We can just look at it here. So if we look up Christmas lights in Harrisburg, we've got the sites that are that are showing up. So we're going to go through the map pack here, and we're going to also go through the website. So I think the way Google usually looks at it here, we'll bring this up. I may look like a fool here, but last I checked, it was ranking on the first page. Yeah. So it's ranking down here, like middle of the first page, and he's getting a fair number of leads, right? So we'll go through some of the things that we did on that site. But what I wanted to see,
you said that's without any SEO added to his package, right?
No additional SEO. So when we build a site, we set it up with the title tags, the metadata, the H tags. That's probably all gibberish to you guys.
You're speaking a different language right now.
We are.
SEO stands for search engine optimization.
It does. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So SEO is search engine optimization, and essentially what that is there's a bunch of things that Google looks for. There's a bunch of things that Google, that we need to tell Google to say, hey, we're over here. In this case, we offer Christmas light installation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And so when someone's searching, Google is essentially like, Google wants people to stay on their platform. They don't want people going to DuckDuckGo and all these other these other search engines, because they make money off people searching through their platform through ads and all of that, right? So if they can serve you up with the best result related to what you're looking for, then you're going to be the happiest, right? If you can connect with someone and find someone within a few seconds, the internet has trained us to basically find what we need instantly, right? So Google now wants to serve that up to you, right? So if you're looking for Christmas lights or Christmas light installation or whatever, they want to serve you the most relevant. They want to serve you, the business that's closest to you, the business that's actually serves Harrisburg. They're not wanting to pull a business from LA. They're not going to show you that unless it's a really relevant blog to what you're doing. So SEO, search engine optimization, is the art, the science, of basically telling Google everything that it wants to know on the site. So when I talk about, just to get off track here a little bit, when I talk about title tags, that's this little blurb here. So Christmas lights, holiday decor, Harrisburg, PA. You can see me kind of hovering over the tab up here. The metadata, that is, what comes up here under your site, this little blurb here. It's a little summary of your site, one for people to see in the search results, but also it is something that Google looks at to see, what is the summary of what they do? Because Google's basically got all these algorithms that figure out what you do based on what you tell it, right? And then the H1
it's way smarter than me. I just know that much.
It is. So. It's a pretty smart thing that they've got going on for sure. And then the H tags are basically these headings. So in here, we'll dive into optimizing your website a little bit more, but you can see I've talked about Harrisburg 3 times already. I talk about it up here in the title tag, talk about it in this heading here, and I talk about it here in this H tag. And the H tags are basically, it's short for heading tag.
Heading tag, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So setting this site up with that basic stuff, we've got a fair bit of content. We'll look through that in a bit. But it ranked and it was showing up and really starting to pop for him. So I have found that the Christmas light industry, a lot of the websites either don't look great or they're just not set up well, and they basically just have a bunch of pictures. But if you can have a site that looks great, is set up well, people can call you through it. They can leave a quote request. It tells Google what it needs to tell Google to say, hey, we're over here, we do Christmas lights. You're probably going to be head and shoulders above the competition in most areas. Obviously, there's some areas that are more competitive, but in most areas, it's an industry that is not super developed online. It's certainly not like the HVAC or roofing industry, right? Like you've got a lot of people who just haven't come online yet.
Right.
So, yeah. Any questions or things that I've missed? I really appreciate you pointing out the SEO thing, because I can start speaking Latin really quick.
Yeah, that's great. No, there's no questions yet. Oh, they want to see the mobile version of the site, if you have an ability to show that on there. I think you could actually go onto the site. That's a live site, right? So if someone was on their phone going to Harrisburg Holiday Lights, they could see it right now, right?
They absolutely can. And I actually could pull it up in the browser here, so it can show you exactly what it looks like. So
I'm gonna look on my phone right now. I'm just gonna be one of those people who goes on her phone right now.
I love it. I'll pull it up in the other browser and I'll just make sure we're on track. Any other? There you go.
It looks great.
No, it really looks sharp. And I love designing the Christmas light sites because you can really make them pop with some color. They're fun, they're festive, all that good stuff.
Okay, that was the one question we had, was about the mobile site. So if you want to show us that on there, that'd be great. You can
Yep.
just,
So I'm going to show you the mobile version here. So we actually we build all these sites in an editor that you can see. So here's the desktop version. Here is what it looks like on the mobile version. So I can just pull it up right here for you.
beautiful.
So you can kind of scroll through. They're hit with the logo. They can call immediately, and they also can leave a quote request immediately. A lot of people, like, we put the quote request right up at the top, because if they're searching for Christmas light installation, they kind of already know what they want. And if your site remotely looks like you offer Christmas light installation, they're probably just going to drop a call or drop a quote request there, right? So
Exactly.
then they're hit with this. We got the little countdown, all of that, and then it goes on down there. But yeah, you can certainly look it up on your phone too. But this allows people to see, if you're wanting to just stay focused here.
Perfect.
So all of that to say, we've got all of these form submissions and calls through here. This is nothing to scoff at, right? He made a fair chunk of money off of this. It's actually funny. So he sold the business over the summer. We built the site in October of 2020, did nothing to it. And then this is what happened last Christmas season. He had actually sold the business over the summer, and then he saw the stuff coming through. He's like, man, I regret selling that.
Right.
So that's the basics there. So I think I left this pretty high level. We talk about that. Before we get into Google Business Listings, I guess I am going to circle back a little bit and talk a bit more about optimizing your site. So if you're getting someone to build your site, we've talked about the title tags. We've talked about the headings, the metadata, which was, that little blurb that Google showed up. The other thing that I briefly mentioned in the mobile side of things is make sure you have calls to action so that they can immediately get in touch with you. The internet has taught us, Google has taught us, our society in general has taught us to be, if we can't find the solution right away, we're going to click back out of it and go to another website.
Exactly.
That's the consumer that we're dealing with, for better or for worse, right?
I'm that consumer too, so.
We all are. we all are. There's the overarching thing. If someone's searching for Christmas lights and they don't find it on the home page, they're going to go try a different search. So, that's another reason that it's good to show up on the first page. You want to be there when someone's looking. But when they land on your site, you want them to have as frictionless, like the least friction possible to getting in touch with you. You want them
Correct.
to see what you do, where you do it, and then to be able to call you. So these are click to call buttons, and I can actually call through the browser because it's connected to my phone. But on mobile especially, you need to make sure that it's click to call. So they click that, and then it goes right into their phone application, and then the quote form. So these are connected. Like if this was your site, this would be connected. So I enter my info, enter my type of service, etc., and then that comes directly to, like in this case, the client that has this site. It comes right to his email. It pops up with all that info, and then you can immediately call them back and book a quote or whatever. So having that user experience where they can pop right in, get in touch with you immediately. Some people like to call, some people like to text. Some of our clients specifically like texting. So then we make it really clear, hey, text us, for more information.
Exactly.
Right? So
it shows that you're catering to all the different types of, all the different personalities that are going to be coming on to purchase, because that's what we want to work with. They're the people who want to call can call, people who want to fill out the form are going to get the form filled out, people who want to text can text, just so that, because not everybody does it the same way. So, I mean, for me, what I would do right away is I'd fill out the form, but I'd go to their Facebook page first and see what's going on there, if they're active or not. And if there's nothing on there for 5 years, I'm probably thinking, well, they're probably not in business. So that's usually what, I mean, it's all connected. That's how I look at it. So
it is.
All those things are important.
No, and some people get overwhelmed. The Facebook page is actually a great way. I think we're going to have time to go into a few things that you can do off the site here. But the Facebook page is a great way to link back to the site, but also to just show people you're live and well and kicking, right?
Exactly.
and that you're still going strong. So I think that's the main stuff that I want to cover here on the site. But essentially, guys, to boil it down, you want to tell Google what you do and where you do it. if you look at that as an acronym, I call it WDOWDY. If you spell it out on paper, it makes more sense.
Wait,
But
what
it's
is the
you do.
acronym?
WDOWDY. It's what you do and where you do it. Right?
Okay.
You have to tell Google, and I think people, it sticks to their minds. Well, if I write it out here on paper, it makes some more sense. Like what you do and where you do it, right there. So without
okay. That's
so you've got to tell Google what you're doing, where you're doing, and I say that over and over, and can't stress it enough, because a lot of people just put up their thing and say, hey, we do this, we're incredible at Christmas lights, we're really good at doing landscape lighting, all of that, but they never specifically say we do it in Harrisburg, in the example we were just looking at. So you need to tell Google mainly, because if someone's looking at it and sees the site show up, they just assume that you're probably in their area. They're not specifically looking for, oh, I work in Harrisburg, but if you tell Google that, it can help a ton.
Yeah, a lot of times people search Christmas lights near me, right? That's something that comes up right away. Would be you want to be on that platform to come up right away.
Yep.
The near me Google search.
Exactly, and that's that's worked into the content here. So we would have hey, if you're looking for Christmas light installation near me or near you, so we'll work that into the content. So content is key. Like everything that you talk about in the content, whether it be what you do and where you do it, the different services, different things that people are looking for, that's really important. And that's what I talk about when I say that's what we got this guy set up with, when it comes to just the basic site build. Now I think we have time to go into, I'm saving some time for the Google business listing stuff at the end, but while we're on the topic of websites, this is all stuff on the site that we're talking about. Now there's stuff off the site, and that's where it gets into some of those services that we offer as a separate SEO or search engine optimization service. But there's things that you can do too. So Facebook page, we already talked about that. Setting up a Facebook page and then linking the website in your Facebook page, that is what is called a backlink to your website. So anywhere that links back to your website is a vote, basically, in Google's eyes. So it's a vote of confidence saying, hey, this is another link. The more links within reason that are linking back to your site, the better. You don't want spammy sites like, I always use porn sites because that gets people's attention, but you don't want to be linking back from, you don't want to be linking back from sites that have no relevance to what you're doing or are spammy.
Makes sense.
But within reason, if you can get links back from people in your area, so it could be a vendor, like Stacey, in Stacey's case, like if someone reached out to you and said, hey, can we write you a review? And then you quote us on your site and link back to our site, right? So that's a great way to get a link back to your site. And that is another vote that Google sees. It's really relevant because your suppliers are in the same industry as you. Google starts to put that all together. But in your local area, even, I've helped clients say, reach out to a restaurant, reach out to realtors and say, hey, can I leave you a review? And then you just link to our website, Stacey Jordan of Envirolume, right? And then have Envirolume link back to your site.
So the more the merrier for that, as long as it's relevant, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have a question. Actually, awesome. Robert's asking, are you able to update existing sites to help improve their ranking? He says, I'm guessing that can get complex with all the different website builders. So say someone has a site now that they already have, can your company update it to have a better ranking?
So within reason, yes. We use a builder called Duda. So we're building in WordPress, and that's a common one in the industry. We switched to Duda. It's got really good, it checks off a lot of the boxes. It's actually ranking above WordPress right now. There's kind of a timeline of who's kind of the best in Google's eyes. So it's really good for SEO. It's really easy to for us to just hand the site over and for clients to make changes. WordPress can get pretty complicated.
Yeah.
But we can, within reason, do changes on WordPress still. But all the sites that we build are in Duda. But yes, if you need basic updates, certainly we can take a look and see if it makes sense. A lot of the offsite stuff, though, we can still do, because it's not directly relating to the site. Adding content and that stuff. We'll write content and someone can put it on their site. If it's a builder that just doesn't fit in our processes. But yeah, it's certainly worth a conversation.
Yeah, I know a lot of people talk about. Robert says, "Damn, WordPress updates can mess things up." LOL. Yeah, it's true.
We had several
True.
clients, who struggled with that. We gave them the site, and then they were, one of them was locked out for 2 months, and I was like, okay, let's help out clients, because they don't want to be web developers, and neither do they want to necessarily pay us for ongoing stuff. So this was a good happy medium.
Yeah, and that's the trick, is that not everybody has somebody on their team who could be managing this and knows how to do the backlinks, or knows how to connect it all to Facebook or to their Instagram account. Or they may have somebody that's a maybe they have their administrative assistant or the receptionist that's handling the uploading social media posts for them or something. That is really important to have it all connected. So once you have it connected and you built that foundation through a company like yours, then they could take it and just run with it.
Yep.
And somebody can be easily trained on how to update simple things.
Very easily. Yeah. And there's no plugins. We basically, if someone wants to do that, we'll build out templates for their blog posts, for extra pages that they want to add, anything like that. And then they can just run with it and go.
Exactly. Yeah. Super helpful.
Great
Do you
question.
offer training to use the software that you use for your website builds? Is a question from Rich.
That's not something that we've done, like as a specific service, but yes, I am more than willing to hop on for half an hour, and just run through, because it's not complicated, and it's fun, and I genuinely enjoy that. So certainly reach out if you want, and we can talk about what that would look like.
Great, thank you. All right. So
yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we've pretty well wrapped up the website stuff. I do want to touch on the Google business listing before we run out of time too.
Yeah, I'm interested in that too, because that's the part that I know that for me and my company, that I don't have a good ranking on Google right now, and I don't have it updated correctly for Envirolume at this point, and something that I'm interested in learning about too. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so we'll dive right in there. So Google business listings, they're now called Google business profiles. I think Google's changing the names all the time. So I still call them Google business listings or Google My Business. GMB is probably a term you've
I
seen.
heard Google My Business a lot over the years. Google My Business was the name, and now it's Google Profiles. What is it called?
Google, they're GBPs. Yeah, Google Business Profile is now
GBP. Acronyms.
It'll roll off our tongue in about 2 years.
GBP.
Yeah. So Google business listings, they work together with the website, and they work separately to the website. So if you were to only do one thing, you have to get a Google business listing up. Facebook page and Google business listing are free to do. You don't have to pay the platforms. You don't have to pay, much to get a website built if you're just doing it yourself. Obviously, we charge for it. But Google business listing and Facebook page are absolutely free. So at the very least, you have to have those things, to be taking advantage of what you can. So why do they matter? And basically, we talked about people searching for Christmas light installation near me, or, just Christmas light installs, or whatever the case may be. The map pack is what shows up. If we just look up, let's choose Christmas light installation, New York City, just to get a fun random look here. So this is the Google business listing pack here, or the map pack, or whatever you want to call it. You've got those 3 results that come up, and Google basically sees those as the most relevant to my search of Christmas light installation. Now there's search, local relevancy. So someone who's in the area, if they're searching from their phone especially, they're going to get pulled up with the most locally relevant installer. And so, there's things you want to do to make your listing optimized so that Google knows what you do and where you do it, because it's very important to take advantage of these things.
So that's something that you pay Google for. It's basically to have your business listed on their, what did you call it? The profile?
Like the business. This is 100% free.
Yeah.
There is no cost to this. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I say it's so important, because it is free, and they're very powerful. Now you can obviously pay, like someone like us to work on it more and really work to expand your reach. But to set this up and do everything that I'm saying here today, is that I'm going to show you, it's 100% free.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, getting it there, people click into these, 80 to 90% of the people are going to click into one of these top 3 listings. And then, people still go down to your website. The website and the business listing do work off each other, but you can rank a listing without having a website, right? So, what are some ways to get your Google business listing to show up? That's ultimately, you can rank Google business listings. You can get them to show up higher. And there's some things that you can do. So I'm going to go through, I'm just going to pick one at random here and go through it, and then just kind of show what they're doing well and what they're not. If someone in the chat wants me to look specifically at theirs, more than happy to do a little live audit here.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Come on, you
Yeah.
guys, put your websites in there. Let's check you out.
Yeah. So if you want a Google business listing, want me to take a look, let's shout it out. But I'll start here, like Mr. Holiday's Lighting. We'll just dive in here, see what they're doing well and what they can improve on. New York's a pretty competitive market, so I imagine they've spent some time doing this. But in a lot of places like Harrisburg, for example, there's not a ton of competition. So if you can just get these basics checked off, you're in good standing. I see you unmuting yourself there.
Yeah, Mr. Holiday's Lighting has a cute logo. I like his logo on top. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I like
great.
that one.
That's great.
So one thing I wanted to say, I don't know this company. I'm going to call them after this, though. We're going to say we just promoted you on our commercial Christmas collective group. So
I love it. They'll be future Envirolume customers.
Right. Okay, so we have somebody that put their website in. Can you look up santaslightcrew.com?
Santa's Light Crew?
Mm-hmm. It's David Vance's company. Thanks, David. We're going to play along.
David, appreciate it. And where's David located? Because I'll pull up his listing as well.
David, where are you at? Let me see.
You may say it in here. He's in Powell, Michigan. Beautiful. This is great. This is exactly what I wanted to see. So just shout out if I got the wrong one, David, but I'm going to go with this until I'm told otherwise. So what I look for with a Google business listing is you want to take advantage of every single place that they allow you to put content. And the first one that I'm going to look at, I'm going to pull up ours too, because we've got some things that I can show here.
Just to compare, like comparative.
Just to compare. And then I'm seeing here, David, it looks like we need, I always start at the description. So I'm going to show people what that is. So the description is in the back end of your listing. You can make this description. So you want to tell Google what you do and where you do it. That Wodowdy factor, right?
Wodowdy.
I make it a little goofy so that you remember, because it's such a key thing for you to basically everywhere you put anything on your website or Google business listing.
Okay, Wodowdy. All right, so on his site right now, you go back to his. It doesn't. That is his site. He said that's him. So
perfect.
It doesn't show any information about that on the Google listing.
No, from what I can see here, and Google does show things up a little bit differently depending on what they're trying out, but I don't see a description here.
Okay.
So you definitely need to get a description, and you want to fill out all 750 characters. It may be weird to write that much content, but just talk about all the different things that you do, all the services, all the different areas. If you're running out of things to talk about, something that
every city listed.
It sounds funny, but it's not the worst thing if you can't think of content, right? So get your description filled out, and then start using the review features here. So you can actually go in, and if you've got this on your phone pulled up, there's a little thing where you can basically share your listing. You want to share that with every single client that you service and say, hey, we would really appreciate if you could leave us a review. This helps us serve you better. It helps future clients, see that we're real, we're legit, we're not going to rip you off. But it also helps you rank. So if you can get clients to talk about what you did and where you did it, again, that's a really good thing. So in your request for reviews, you can even tell clients, hey, please be as specific as possible, because this helps other people see what we did. So in this case, let's assume Dino had said, hey, we really appreciate you coming out. It was great to have our house lit up. It was beautiful, all that good stuff. Then in your reply, you want to reply to all these reviews. I'll step back. You definitely want to reply to the reviews as soon as they come in. That shows, one, you're active on your listing. Google likes that. And it shows as well that you care about the clients. And thirdly, you can put in some what you did and where you did it. And that's user generated content. So you can say, hey, Dino, we really appreciate you having us out to to your home in Livonia, let's say, where we got to, do a full house Christmas light install, right? So you've talked about Christmas lights, you've talked about Livonia, you talked about the areas that he services and what you did.
So in the
Right,
review,
so-
he puts those keywords in there, right? That's
So
the
your
keywords is
customers,
what we're
you can't
talking about.
always get your clients to leave keywords in there. If they do, that's great. But in your reply, you can say, "Hey, Dina, we appreciate you having us
Yeah.
out to your home in Livonia or wherever he is." Obviously, don't use street addresses because that's unethical.
At 112 South Street.
Yeah. Use general suburbs, and it could be just Detroit. We really
Right.
appreciated servicing your home in Detroit and doing a full home Christmas light install, right? So you're basically telling Google again what you did and where you did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have another person put their website up. You want to check out another one real quick?
Sure.
It's frostfest.net. And it's LC Kaler. He said that, I don't know if this is, he said that he did a light park late into 2021. That's it, Frostfest.
Nice. Does he have a listing that he wants me to look at?
Let's see.
I'll touch on one more thing while I'm here with David,
Okay.
and you're pulling that out. But you basically want to go in and fill out everything that you possibly can. So like add your business hours in, add your all the different services. So I can actually edit this and suggest hours. But you would go in and add your business hours, add all the different services that you offer. Get people to ask questions. So even family and friends, I don't recommend getting family and friends to leave reviews. I do prefer all actual reviews, but the questions and answers, get people to ask questions like, "Hey, do you service Ann Arbor with Christmas light installs?" And then you can say, "Yeah, absolutely. We service Ann Arbor, all of Detroit with Christmas light installs, landscape lighting, all of that." And you've told Google again what you do and where you do it.
Right.
The other thing too is products. Even if you're a service-based business, fill them in as products. So in this case, it would be Christmas light installation, commercial light installation, all of that stuff. So you can put it here in the product section, and you can put a picture there. You can put a link over to your website here, and then you can put, I believe it's 1,000 words or 1,000 characters in here. So we don't use our Google business listing to drive a lot of traffic because we're like national, but I have this filled out anyway. But the more you put in here about what you do and where you do it, the better. So products, filling out your description, getting reviews, replying to the reviews. And then the last thing would be get photos and have at least 20 photos on your listing.
Okay.
Now I'm going to give you guys a really important tip here with the photos. Before you upload your photos, and take notes on this because this will actually make a major difference in your ranking. Before you upload your photos, rename that photo to, in David's case, Santa's Light Crew installing Christmas lights in Ann Arbor. There's the what you do and where you do it again, but you can actually rename the photo from image 54321 or whatever it comes off your phone as to Santa's Light Crew installing Christmas lights in Ann Arbor. And you talked about what you did and where you did it.
Yep. Your acronym again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it'll get old, but I want you guys to remember it because it's so important.
Yeah. So Kate, LC, who is Kaler Landscape, who has frostfest.net, says that they may need help to set up a listing still. So I don't know if they even have a listing. Their other company is Kaler Landscape. So if you were to look up like Christmas lights in Porterville, California, that's what he'd be under. I mean, that's what people would probably search for that because that's where they're at, Porterville. And you can see like what first comes up is your Central Valley, that's talking about them, but they're not there, right? Their company's not there. Just Kaler Landscape is there, which is the company, but that's not the Frostfest website.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely some stuff that can be done on the site. Like I would, first things that I see here, home Frostfest. We're going to go back to the website here because everything that I said, just to hop back into the Google business listings, everything that I went through, that's applicable for any industry or any business listing. And if you go to our site, bluecrocus.ca, and go to the resources section, I've got a PDF where you can download those 8 steps that I just went through of to kind of refresh yourself. But to go back here to Frostfest, home Frostfest, that's the title tag. I would change that to Frostfest in Porterville, and maybe list off a couple of the different things that you guys are hosting there, holiday, festival, list off a few of the keywords there. Frostfest, I would try and fit Porterville in there somewhere, in this first thing here. If you look at, if I just quickly look at like the metadata, you've got about Frostfest, Porterville. This looks like it's just pulling it from the site. So you can actually reword this a little and work it in to be a little bit more readable and talk a little bit about, what you do and where you do it in this case. So we'll go back in here, Porterville, California, you do have the location here. So that's good. On websites as well for SEO, I didn't touch on this before, rename the photos before you upload them. Same as I was just talking about with the Google business listing. And then also put in the alt tags. That's really important for Google to see what you do and where you do it. And also you can have those pictures rank in the images pack on Google. So, they can show up and rank as well. So you got this, that's good. So, something like this, I would try and get, especially in this situation, if it looks like this is a holiday festival, try and get other sites to just link out, even put a button on their site saying, hey, check this out in the local area. This is something that we support, especially for all these ones that are sponsoring you. Get them to link out to your site, or certainly all the social media stuff and everything. But having some of that backlink pointing back to your site, that can be really huge.
So I went to your website. That's where I was at right now for Blue Crocus Solutions, or bluecrocus.ca, and I went to the resources page, and on there it says quick links to value. So 8 ways to make more money from your GMB. So if I fill out that form, it's going to send me a PDF, and in that PDF, is it going to tell me like the steps to take, or would that be if I make an appointment with you? So the
PDF, I actually don't have it going to an appointment. If you want to make an appointment, right now we're actually revamping our site as we speak. But if you want to make an appointment, just fill in at the bottom of the site. I believe every page has this contact us today. Okay. And then that will just come through. I'll email you back or call you, and we'll set up a time to meet. But yeah, filling this out just gets name, email, and phone. We just had so many people from, randos all over the internet that were grabbing it. So this just makes sure you're real. And that right. will, that will give you a link to just directly, I'll show you here. So you just click that, and then it gives you, and then you can just download the PDF right here.
Oh, great.
So this is the PDF here. So you can, it talks about filling out your info properly, description, which we talked about, renaming the pictures, upload products, services, reviews.
That's perfect. Yeah. Cause we talked about a lot today right here, and it's a lot of information, but I think a lot of business owners and people in our collective maybe haven't even thought about this yet. They're just right now, I know for me, we're like coming down off the Christmas high. It's like you're going crazy for a couple months and you're like, I can finally breathe, but it's time to keep going, So I think this is the time to really review like where they're all at with their websites and where they're at with all of these Google listings and what are they called now? Google business I don't know,
profile. Yeah, Google
profiles.
We know
profiles. Now is the time to do it. And a lot of times people haven't even thought about it yet, right? They're still just trying to get past the season and what are they doing next. And so I think this is perfect. I'm excited because I know in the Facebook chat that we're on right now, people were just saying that definitely it can be applied to any business, and anybody who's on here definitely would benefit from even just that PDF, and then making an appointment with you to go over in depth for their websites. And it doesn't take a long time, right? It's pretty quick audit of your site to figure out what they're going to need, right?
Yeah. And there's I actually do have a link for you for someone if they want to get an audit. I'll pop it in the chat here, and you can drop it in Facebook. Okay. But if someone is looking to, just get a sense of where they stand, I just dropped that in the chat for Stacey there, so you can throw it on Facebook. Okay. Dropped it in the Zoom chat. But that does come right into our CRM, and then we'll reach out to you and say, hey, we got it. We'll get back to you. But I do like a video audit. It's like a 5-10 minute video. I go through and I actually just show you what we're seeing. And I also, if someone wants to hop on for 30 minutes, I'll go through it with you live. on Zoom or on the phone and just say, hey, here's what I see. Because a lot of people don't know, right? So the more we can help people, the better.
Definitely. So we talked about a lot. Our time is almost up, but so let's go through really quickly. SEO is
search engine optimization.
And GBP,
Google Business Profile, also known as GMB or Google My Business or Google Business Listing. It gets quite confusing.
And if anybody doesn't have a Google Business listing already, what are their steps to do that? Like, how do they start to do that? I guess that's maybe my question.
Yeah, let's just do you want me to just share my screen and just walk you through real quick?
If you could real quick, that'd be great. Because I think some people are just need to know right away how to start, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, keep in mind, guys, this is free. So if you get calls from someone saying, hey, you need to verify your listing for $100, it's probably a scam. So, we do offer it as a service. Ours is, I believe it's $500. We'll set everything up for you and pre-optimize it. We won't do any ongoing stuff. But that is a service we offer, but you can set this up for free. And I'm redoing a video. I'm talking and typing. I'm redoing a video on how to do this too, which I can, send to Stacey probably by the end of the week. But this is, just search, set up Google Business Listing. And, you're just going to go here, and then you're going to sign in. Okay, I need to be signed into here, but basically you're just going to sign in with a Google account. I've got our ads account here, so I won't go through it. But you just sign in and go through the steps of everything they ask you. If you go on YouTube, we have a video currently that you can watch.
Is that your newest baby?
Oh yeah, this is our oldest. Yeah.
The oldest. Okay.
Yeah. He was like 1.5 at the time, I think.
Aw.
But if you look up on YouTube, I believe you can find it there. It's just how, if you just look up Blue Crocus. And there's lots of people that have videos on this too. So, we're not the end all be all. I just shot a quick video for someone and then put it on here,
Okay.
And sent it out to a few people. So
I see that. Great. That's perfect. Yeah.
And
so
I actually have a YouTube video going into depth on that PDF as well. So.
Oh, wow. Super helpful. I know that you've definitely brought a lot of helpful information to our collective group here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. We're going to be getting a hold of you. I think Rich from Trans World Christmas Show is going to get a hold of you to possibly exhibit at their next Christmas show. It's kind of late now, I think, for this year, but they have a training that they do in person to people who are in the Christmas industry. It's the biggest Christmas show in the US right now, but it's also a Halloween show. So there's people coming in from the Halloween industry who can be helped if they do the Christmas.
This is Rich. You had him on a couple weeks ago, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you saw that.
Yeah.
So they're interested in having you come to help with the Halloween side, because there's lots of people who exhibit, but not anybody who really offer these services. So I think it'd be really helpful, and hopefully we can work together. So thank you so much for coming on. I put all your information in the Facebook chat, and this is going to be posted as well on YouTube on our Christmas Collective location. So I'll send you that video too. And for anybody who's listening, you guys have their information. I can't say it now. Blue Crocus.
Blue Crocus, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
bluecrocus.ca, right, is the website. And then for the upcoming stuff for Envirolume, we are going to be at Trans World, which is coming up in March 17th through the 20th. So if you haven't registered to attend, definitely register to attend. Even if you're not sure, if you're in the industry, you just want to check things out. Envirolume's there, and we're showing a bunch of products, but there's so many other Christmas companies that are there. We're not the end all be all for everyone. We can't bring in everything, but we want to be able to make sure everyone's getting all the opportunities they can to find the right products for their customers. So with that being said, I think that's my one pitch for the next trade show coming up. Do you have any final words for us, Lewis? Words of wisdom.
appreciate you having me on, and appreciate the interaction. I always enjoy when there's questions. It just makes it more real. So appreciate everyone who tuned in. And guys, take advantage of your Google business listing. If you don't have it, it's free. If you have a website, Wadowdy, what you do and where you do it. That's important. Keep that goofy acronym in your mind, because it's so important.
All right. So thank you so much again, and we'll see you soon.
Beautiful.
Bye, everyone.